Going in Seattle, Washington during World War II. I built B-17s and B-29s, and I'm very proud of the role I played. The first thing I want to tell you, last year in February, the Air Force invited me down to Florida to Cape Canaveral to the heavy rocket launch. And they had a symposium and a STEM meeting, and they asked me to speak. They wanted me to come to inspire the younger generation. And as I stood up there and looked around, which I'm looking around today, none of you, or most of you, weren't even born when I was building these 17s. It's amazing, isn't it? I know many of you were, but many of you weren't. My story starts with, we were born during the Great Depression and the Dust Bowl in the Middle West. I was born in North Dakota. And we really struggled through it. I don't think there's very many people realize what that did to our country at the time. We worked really hard. There was nothing that, we had nothing. And if a family was down and out, another family would take them in. And it was just a matter of food or a roof over our heads. That was called survival at that time. And we all worked so hard, but most of us came from really, really good families, which we're very proud of, which helps you over all of these hard times. And as time went on, things just, it just seemed like it took so long for the Depression, with the Dust Bowl on top of it, just seemed like one problem after another. It's when Roosevelt came in, he's the one that helped us through all of this. He helped us come through. He put in good programs like the WWII and CCCs for young boys who went into the CCs because they come from large families and they couldn't feed all of them. Can you hear me all right? Can you? That was the time where things started to kick up a little bit. And it just seemed like there's no end to, what we had to endure. Or I'm sure some of you experienced that. But now when things started to get better, we were really happy about that. And of course, like I said, Roosevelt put in all those good programs. He started helping feed people, and of course now the Dust Bowl was beginning to be over. And the Great Depression, we lived in a small town halfway between two large cities. And of course the trains were run at that time by coal and steam, or coal and water. And we had what they call a coal or something there when the train stopped. When the trains would stop, the bums, they called them bums or hobos, but these were just men going from coast to coast looking for a decent job. They were really what you call hobos. They'd get off the train and they'd come to the door. They'd ask if they'd do something for maybe a sandwich or something to eat. I remember so well how many times my mother would make an egg sandwich or whatever. That's about what we had at that time. Everybody had chickens. And they'd sit on the doorstep and they'd eat their sandwich. And they'd be so grateful. And they'd thank my mother. Then they'd be back on the train. They'd go to the city tab or industry, so it was easier. In the Middle West, it was farming, mostly, it was very little. So there wasn't jobs to offer them there, so they kept moving. But that was a very difficult time for them. And of course, now we're into the 1930s. And things are starting to get better, it's much better. But also we started worrying about Hitler. He was moving into all of the countries like Poland, especially when he got to Poland. I think that was in the late 39s. That was such a sad time because we were afraid. We seen what he was doing. He was just eating up every country. I remember, I remember my mother and father how they feared what was happening. They were thinking about what Japan was going to do to us. We used to save scrap metal to sell to Japan, never realizing that they're going to use that against us and make their own material. It was an unbelievable time. My sister and I went to, it was a Sunday, and my sister and I went to a matinee. And when we came home, our parents were sitting by the radio, very upset. And we said, what had happened? They said, Japanese had bombed Pearl Harbor. I stood there, and I thought, I don't think I know where Pearl Harbor is. I think, we weren't sophisticated about the world at that time. But we sure found out in a hurry where Pearl Harbor was. Now it's a really sad time in our life because within weeks, all of our young boys, we're just a small town, all of our young boys enlisted right away. And that took uncle decided to leave too. He was older, but he enlisted. And he was a rural mail carrier. And you know what rural mail carriers are. They take mail out into the country. Well, at that time there was no electric and no power out in the country. And when my uncle enlisted, they gave that job to my mother. Well, that was unheard of, a woman doing that job, especially in the severe winters. And the farmers used to watch for her. They kind of timed her. If she didn't show up in time, they'd come looking for her on a horse or tractor or something. They wanted to make sure she wasn't stopped. But I call her the very first Rosie because that was right, the war was just declared and that happened right away. It was so unbelievable. It had a strong mother. That was so unbelievable. I think it was federal. I believe that it was federal at the time. So that was unbelievable for a woman to take on that role. But this is what happened. This is what women did. After the boys left, one of the girls that I hang around for the boys leave. So we all start thinking about going to Seattle. So as soon as school was out, my sister and girlfriend and I packed up and we thought, well, we'll go to Seattle for the summer. That'll be a lot of fun. But we loved it. We stayed all through the war. We all became Rosie The Riveters. They take it downtown in Seattle and they put a sheet of metal in the vise and they teach us how to drill holes and then they teach us how to rivet. And the butt, you always go ahead, you're a butter or the rivets at first. They give about 2 weeks training, then into the factory you go. Here you are working on these huge bombers with your young, naive kids. I can remember my job was crawling inside the wings. I was a bucker. I had to snake in and out of the ribs of these wings. I looked back on it now, I said, how did I do it? I said, I can't imagine. Anybody in there would be so claustrophobic. But I guess that comes from youth. I mean, you don't think these things, you just do them. But after a while, of course, I became a riveter, and I think I became a very good riveter, in my opinion. It's all kind of that good one. But these women were amazing. You know, until 1941, it was a man's world. They didn't realize how great the American women was, how capable they were. And we sure showed them that Hitler had said he wouldn't have any trouble defeating America because American women could produce. He said we were soft and spoiled. He said we spent too much money on cosmetics and things like that. So I think we showed Hitler what American women were made of. Very proud of that. And I'm just so proud of what the women have done since then. They've opened a lot of doors. I'm very proud of them. When we went to work, there would be one woman in particular, more than one I got to know well. She was a Gold Star mother. She had lost her son. She didn't quit working because she lost her son. She said, I don't want another mother to lose a son because he doesn't have the equipment he needs. And I thought that's an outstanding woman. I said, this is the way the women were. We all pulled together. It wasn't my job or your job. It was our job. We just needed to make the material and the equipment our men needed to win the war. And we really dug in and did it right. And of course, there's a lot of more of the widows. A lot of women lost their husbands. And they stayed right in there, hung right in, and did what they had to do too. It's so amazing to watch what they did. Like I said, it wasn't my job or your job, it was our job. Somebody wrote, I don't know who wrote this, but he said, Rosie The Riveter was the most successful tool in American history. And I thought, I don't know who wrote that, but I thought that was true.